Unfortunately, yes, we don't do illegal activity, so hopefully no one's doing that here. And anyone on probation, parole, or pending criminal charges, we have to make sure that the borrower is of good character and is of good nature in making sure they're using the federal money in an appropriate way. So our 7A loan, this is our largest loan, and we like to call this the workhorse of the SBA. In the state of New Jersey, we have over 150 different lenders that use this product. So it's the most widely known and recognized. Why does that matter? Well, obviously, you don't want to go to a bank who doesn't really know how to use the loan program, right? You want to be able to go to a bank who has a high turnover on loans and who has successfully underwrote many of loans. It's going to make your process a lot easier and go a lot quicker than if a bank, hey, this is our first time doing it. All right? So this loan is acceptable through over 150 lenders throughout the state. It goes up to a $5 million gross. We'll go up to $5.5 million for a manufacturing firm. We do an 85% guarantee on loans up to $150,000, and we'll go 75% guarantee on loans greater than $150,000. Maturity depends on the ability to repay the loan, so it depends upon what you're using the business proceeds for, whether it's for capital improvement, a line of credit, whether it's for a business finish out, if you're acquiring a new property. All those have different components that will be ammed over a different period of time. The interest rate is set by the lender. What we do is we set the max rate. We go prime plus 4.25 to 4.75 over prime right now. That is the current rate. It depends and will change depending upon the program and the LIBOR rates. And there is a guarantee fee associated with the SBA loan. So you're thinking, I see these fees, I see these charges, prime plus whatever percentage. What does that mean? How much is this money going to cost me, right? Well, it depends. Is the SBA the cheapest loan product you can find? I doubt it. But if you have the credit, you have the capacity to take on more debt, and you have the collateral where you don't need the SBA, we're not here for you. We're here for those borrowers who are kind of on the fence. Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't have any equity, you have bad credit, and you don't have any collateral, you're not going to get a loan. That's the traditional lending model. So you have to understand where we are. We're a middle market lender for those who can't necessarily get a loan by themselves, but are still good in those three areas. So understand that as you look to the SBA in part of your financing mix. Again, you don't necessarily have to do 100% of your financing with the SBA. However, it is a great opportunity to help absorb some of that risk and maybe give you a larger access to capital or in a different term. Benefits to borrower: fixed maturity, long-term financing, improved cash flow. We will am that debt over a longer period than most conventional lenders. That's one of the great attributes about SBA loan programs. There's no balloon, no prepayment penalties for those loans under 15 years. We have our express loan package. Now, the express loan package is a little bit different than our 7A. The guarantee's a bit different, and we only go up to $350,000 on our SBA express loans. The lenders use their own forms, which expedites the process dramatically. So you can get an effective answer within 72 hours on this loan product, as opposed to the 7A, which could take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. Excuse me, the SBA guarantees 50% of our express loans, and we do use revolving lines of credits, which can be ideal for a lot of retail establishments. Obviously, we know there's life cycle flow in most retail establishments. You have your heavy periods and your slow periods. And if you need that additional cap access line or that line of credit for the slow period, this is a great program for that. We have SBA financing for certain markets. The SBA Patriot Express loan is specifically for veterans and their families that have served in the United States military. This is our lowest express loan package. And again, it uses 7A guarantee rates, but it's done in an express package. So we can go over this. Next slide. And our 504 loan. This loan is a great loan. We call it the 50-40-10 loan. What this loan is used for is packaging different lenders together where you have a nonprofit intermediary and you have your conventional commercial lender, both coming together to the table on a project with you, the borrower. What we look for is 50% financing from the commercial lender. The SBA's Community Development Corporation will fund up to 40% of that project, and that leaves 10% for you to fund, a 10% equity mix for you to fund. So these are ways we can bring in alternate financing sources. We have our microloans, which are available to our startup community and our smaller businesses just starting out. They'll go up to $30,000 on the microloans, which is for initial businesses and startup, and they can even go up to $250,000 for existing businesses that have been in operation for over 2 years. Benefits to borrower: there's a lower down payment. The fees can be rolled in. There's a technical component to this loan. And again, it'll give you access to capital when you don't necessarily have that access to capital. Our VC, or SBIC program, is for venture capitalists. So if you have one of those high growth businesses or are considering that, we also work in the venture capital space. We have different financing programs outside of what we've talked about here, so you never know what your financing needs will bring you, and you can always come back to us and say, I'm interested in this area. Is there any way you can put me in front of this financing mix? We have a bonding program for construction companies. We can help construction companies get bonded to complete construction jobs. Those are all available through information via myself or anyone in our district office, which you can always reach out to. We do disaster loans. Disaster loans are a large part of our product mix for all of those who were hit by the recent floods here in New Jersey. Anytime a presidential disaster area is declared, the SBA comes in along with FEMA in order to do direct loans to small businesses at that time. That is the one and only time we go direct lending, and we will lend to businesses and personnel in the event of a natural disaster. Finally, our contracting arena. This is to take your small business and grow it. The federal government spends over $400 billion a year in commercial goods. $400 billion. What kind of set aside, what kind of access to those contracts do you have? We look for existing businesses because the federal government has a small business set aside requirement. They set aside 23% of their contracts for small businesses. They have just recently, as of February of last year, started a 3% set aside for women-owned small businesses. You have availability to access contracting on a set aside. What is 3% of $409 billion? It's a lot more than I have in my pocket, okay? You can have access to all that. We have an 8A program which requires your business to be in process for 2 years, and you have to fit a certain economic and social criteria. You can apply directly for that program with us, the SBA, and what that is a 9-year business development program. You work directly with us for 9 years in order to grow your business outside of the small business community. When you're ready for contracting, you can always reach out to myself or anyone in our district office, and we will walk you through the application process. And please reach out to us on sba.gov. We are on Twitter. We have a Facebook, so you can follow us on social media. You can always reach out to myself, Edward Haddock. I've got my contact information in the back, as well as our small business resource guide is back there. And what that is it's a cover-to-cover, basically, of all the different resources that the SBA offers and that we have here in the state of New Jersey. So I suggest you reach out and grab one of those, and I'll be available for any question and answers after this. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Ed. Very good presentation.